All right, now let's look at the last problem. 32 is your homework problem, so we're going to try this 33. The way to solve them is exactly the same. And also this is about, again, simply the vector addition. And for this problem, we already have the coordinate system, so it's going to be easier. So find the magnitude of the resultant force and the angle it makes with the positive x-axis. So let's just sketch it on the graph first, and that way we will have something to look at. Let me use a blue line. Okay, so we know what it means to have a resultant force. That means we're going to draw the parallelogram over here, okay, and this force over here. It's not very straight, but that's okay. And let's call this one V1, and this is W. This is V and this is W. And this one over here is V plus W. So what do we want? We want the magnitude and the components and the angle. And the angle theta. And how do we do that? We will just try to find the coordinates and then we find it. Okay, so how to do this? Just find the coordinates of the tip. And then we're going to have A and B, right? That's the one we have. So this is what we're going to do. A is going to be negative and B is going to be positive. If we find them, then we are done. And then we can also find the angle over there. And how to do that? We need to find V vector first. And V vector is exactly 300 and negative and 0, right? Because it's pointing leftward, right? And W, we're going to use the cosine and the sine. So W is going to be equal to 200 times cosine 60 degree, because that's the adjacent, and a vertical one is going to be 200 and sine 60 degree, right? That's the one we have. So let's do the computation. Cosine, that's 1/2. So this is going to be 100, and this one over here is going to be 200 root 3 over 2. Okay. All right, so now we're going to add them up. So V plus W. See how easy it is. And then this is going to be negative 200, okay? And then this one is going to be 200 root 3 over 2. So what's the magnitude? Magnitude is going to be the square root of 200 squared is the same thing as negative 200 squared, right? And plus 200 squared times 3 over 4. So if you factor things out, and that's going to be 200 squared out, so it's going to be 200. And inside the square, we have 1 plus 3 over 4. And that's going to be 200 root 7 over 2. And that's the magnitude. How about the angle? The angle, because we have this, we will just use, the easiest way is using the tangent. But on the other hand, we can also use the cosine. To find the cosine theta, so cosine theta is going to be this length over here. That's going to be negative 200 over 200 and root 7 over 2, right? It's the adjacent over the hypotenuse, but it's negative. So this one over here is going to be negative. 2 should be outside. So this one over here. Let me correct this one over here. Okay, so it's going to be root 7 over 2. So it's going to be 2 over root 7. Or if you rationalize the denominator and that's going to be negative 40, 2 root 7 over 7, and that's the one. So what about theta? Because theta is equal to cosine inverse of this number, 2 root 7 over 7. Okay. If you use a calculator, you can try to estimate the angle over here. Okay. But this angle over here, because it's negative, is obtuse. Okay. So that's another example over here, and 32 is solved in essentially the same way.